not. I know if you see the quarterback play in the league right now, I know I'm capable of doing better than that.
Shadour Sanders, the son of NFL legend Deion Primetime Sanders, just clapped back at Rex Ryan, and he didn't hold back. Rex called him out live on TV, and Shadour made sure everyone knew he wasn't backing down. His message was clear: if you're going to take a shot at him or his family, you better not miss. But the question is, can Shadour really prove he's got what it takes, or will he end up being the rookie that stains his dad's legendary name? The moment that had the sports world buzzing wasn't a touchdown, a fumble, or even a sideline brawl. It was a full-on rant, and it didn't happen in the locker room. It went down live on ESPN's Get Up. Rex Ryan, the big personality and former NFL coach turned analyst, leaned in during the segment and unleashed on the 22-year-old rookie quarterback who hadn't even taken a single regular season snap. His words were sharp, direct, and brutal, and social media blew up within minutes. Millions of fans saw the clip within hours. It was reposted by every major sports page out there. Some people backed Rex, saying he's just keeping it real, while others couldn't believe a 62-year-old analyst was taking such harsh shots at a kid who hasn't even proven himself on the field yet. This wasn't just another TV hot take. It hit differently because the target wasn't just any rookie. It was Shadour Sanders, the Cleveland Browns' new quarterback and the son of one of the flashiest, most iconic players in sports history, Deion Primetime Sanders. For Rex Ryan, this was nothing new. He's built a whole reputation on being loud, bold, and straight up unfiltered. He's the guy who lives to stir the pot. From leading the New York Jets to back-to-back AFC championship games in 2009 and 2010 to coaching the Buffalo Bills, Rex has never once dodged the microphone. But even for him, this takedown of Shadour Sanders hit different. It was cutting, dripping with hints of entitlement, wasted potential, and frustration that went far beyond the usual sports banter. And the timing? Couldn't have been worse for Shadour. The Cleveland Browns were falling apart, sitting at a brutal 1-3 start to the 2025 season, and the team's quarterback room was a total mess. Joe Flacco was back for yet another round in Cleveland, but clearly struggling. Rookie Dye Gabriel, the fourth rounder from Oklahoma, was waiting for his shot. And then there was Shadour, the guy once hyped as a possible top 10 draft pick, now sitting at quarterback 3 like an afterthought. To Ryan and plenty of other critics, Shadour's attitude told the whole story.
This kid talks, he runs his mouth like I could be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your in the front row and study and do all that.
Cameras kept catching him on the sidelines during ugly losses, arms crossed, face blank, body language screaming, "I don't care." That one image spread like wildfire online and became the perfect ammo for every doubter waiting to question his drive. Rex didn't miss the chance to pounce. During his fiery rant, he painted Shadour as the kid who talks big but doesn't grind, the kind of player who wants the spotlight without putting in the sweat. And the reason it hit so hard? Because this blow-up didn't come out of nowhere. It was building up for weeks. Just days before the rant, Shadour had gone on ESPN Cleveland and dropped some confident, maybe too confident, statements. For someone who hadn't played a single regular season down, those words landed like a punch to the gut for certain fans and analysts. To his supporters, it was pure swagger. Exactly what you'd expect from Deion Sanders' son, but to his critics, it was straight arrogance. To them, this was the proof they'd been waiting for. That all those whispers about Shadour being entitled during the draft process might actually be true. Rex Ryan made it crystal clear which side he was on. And it definitely wasn't Team Shadour. His fiery rant wasn't just a knee-jerk reaction to one interview. It was the explosion of months of built-up frustration that scouts and insiders had been whispering about behind the scenes. When Rex called Shadour Sanders an embarrassment, it didn't come out of nowhere. It was the result of years of quiet doubts, scouting reports, and locker room talk about whether the young quarterback was really built for the NFL grind. Shadour Sanders was never supposed to fall to the 5th round. Not long ago, draft boards had him sitting comfortably in the top 10, with analysts raving about his smooth throwing motion, pinpoint accuracy, and calm under pressure. They said he had that leadership spark, the kind of presence that could change a locker room. At Jackson State, under his father Deion's guidance, he led the Tigers to back-to-back SWAC championships. Then came Colorado, a whole new stage and bigger spotlight.
If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now.
Even with one of the most beaten-up offensive lines in college football, Shadour still threw for over 3,200 yards and 27 touchdowns in his final season. On paper, his stats looked golden, but when draft season hit in 2025, things started to unravel fast. That's when the whispers began to surface, and they weren't flattering. One anonymous coach told NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, "It was the worst formal interview I've ever been in my life," describing Shedeur as entitled, defensive, and unwilling to take accountability. Those words spread like wildfire. And then came the story about his visit with the New York Giants, where coaches allegedly planted mistakes in the playbook on purpose just to test if the prospects were paying attention. When the Browns finally picked Shadour Sanders in the 5th round, number 143 overall, It felt more like a gamble than a celebration. This wasn't the red carpet moment many expected for Deion Sanders' son. Cleveland wasn't even in a rush to get him on the field. They already had veteran Joe Flacco, a former Super Bowl MVP, making another comeback, and they just drafted Dillon Gabriel, a mobile playmaker out of Oklahoma 1 round earlier. By the time training camp wrapped, Shedeur was buried at quarterback 3, stuck behind both a proven vet and another hungry rookie. So when he started talking like he could outplay NFL starters, Rex Ryan saw red. To Rex, that wasn't confidence. That was straight-up disrespect. His old-school mindset, the kind built in locker rooms where rookies carried helmets and earned their stripes, had zero tolerance for that kind of swagger from someone with 0 pro snaps. That's why his rant hit so hard. It wasn't just about how Shedeur looked on the sidelines, arms folded, eyes cold. It was everything rolled together. Months of rumors about entitlement, questions about maturity, and hype that hadn't yet turned into results. When those clashed with Shedeur's own bold words, the tension finally exploded on live TV. Fans were instantly divided. Supporters of Rex said someone had to check the young quarterback to remind him that pure talent doesn't automatically make you an NFL star. But others fired back saying Rex went too far. To them, it felt like a seasoned analyst picking on a kid who hadn't even been given a fair shot yet. And that line between tough love and taking it personal got real blurry. As the storm kept brewing, one thing became obvious. This feud wasn't going away anytime soon. The Sanders family wasn't about to sit back and let Rex Ryan's harsh words slide.
Because I think, and TJ, you correct me if I'm wrong, Bill Belichick would stand in front of his team, and I don't care if you don't have 6 Super Bowls, you should coach like you have 6 Super Bowls or plan to. And I would stand up in front of the room and say...
And soon enough, Shedeur's own mother stepped right into the spotlight, taking the drama to a whole new level. The entire NFL community was buzzing. When Rex Ryan went off on Shadour Sanders live on national TV, it wasn't just another fiery ESPN segment. It became the biggest sports headline of the week. The viral clip showed Rex shaking his head, his voice rising with frustration as he told Shedeur to quit being an embarrassment. Within minutes, every major sports page reposted it. ESPN, Bleacher Report, Barstool, you name it, it was everywhere. On X, the reactions split the internet in half. Some fans were cheering for Rex, saying he just said what every Browns fan's been thinking. They pointed at Shedeur's body language on the sideline. The crossed arms, the distant stare, saying he looked more like a frustrated veteran than a hungry rookie trying to earn his spot. But others weren't having it at all. They accused Rex of crossing the line, of turning his platform into a spotlight for unnecessary shade. To them, it felt personal, almost like bullying a young player who hadn't even been given the chance to prove himself yet. And it wasn't just random fans weighing in. Insiders, reporters, and former players jumped into the debate, too. Some backed Rex saying Shedeur needed that reality check, but others pushed back hard, arguing that the criticism was premature.
What do you think you have to show to the coaches just to have that belief in you that you can be ready?
The kid hadn't even played a single real game in Cleveland yet. Even inside the ESPN studio, the argument got heated. One analyst clapped back at Rex right on air, saying he was being way too harsh for a rookie who was still just trying to find his footing in the league. But Rex Ryan didn't back down, not even a little. Instead, he doubled down hard, saying the real issue wasn't Shedeur's lack of playing time. It was his attitude. Rex claimed that everyone in the league already knows what kind of energy Shedeur brings, and that one line lit the internet on fire. If that was true, it meant Shedeur's reputation was already tainted behind the scenes long before he ever touched an NFL field. And in a league where perception can make or break your career, that was a brutal blow. The Browns were already sitting at a disappointing 1-3, desperate for a spark, a hero under center who could turn things around. Instead, all the attention went to a rookie who hadn't even taken a snap yet, getting labeled on national TV as entitled and unready. That kind of spotlight, it's the worst one a player could ask for. What made it sting even more was that Rex's comments weren't wild guesses. They lined up perfectly with the same criticisms that had haunted Shedeur during the pre-draft process. Scouts had already said he came off defensive in interviews. One report even claimed he got visibly upset when teams threw trick questions at him during playbook tests. And behind closed doors, some executives were allegedly saying the Sanders family energy might be too much to handle for an NFL locker room. So Rex wasn't making up a story. He was confirming one that had been quietly spreading for months. That's exactly why the clip exploded across the internet. It didn't sound like a hot take.
Adam Schefter reported, and some other networks are starting to report, that this was his response to Rex Ryan saying what he said on the Sunday show.
It sounded like insider truth. Within just 48 hours, the story completely took over sports media. Every debate show, from First Take to The Herd, was breaking down every word Rex said, turning Shedeur's name into the center of the biggest NFL controversy of the week. But instead of firing back with another quote or emotional post, Shadour Sanders pulled off something no one saw coming, a straight-up mime show. His comeback didn't need words. It was silent, clever, and pure attitude. By late September, rolling into October, the feud between Rex Ryan and Shedeur had completely taken over football headlines. Rex had unleashed his fiery rant, Shadour's mom Pilar had already hit back on Instagram, and yet through all that noise, Shadour himself hadn't said a single word. That all changed on October 1st. The Cleveland Browns dropped an announcement that made things even spicier. Rookie Dillon Gabriel from Oklahoma would be the starting quarterback. Veteran Joe Flacco would move to backup, and Shadour still stuck at QB3. For most rookies, that kind of demotion would have been enough to crush their confidence, but not for him. At the team's weekly press conference, reporters were ready. Cameras aimed, mics on, waiting for Shadour to finally respond to everything, the criticism, the headlines, and Rex Ryan's brutal words. But instead of talking, Shadour flipped the script completely. He stood there calm, smirking, and started miming. He pointed, gestured, and acted out answers without saying a word. Reporters didn't know whether to laugh or record faster. At one point, he even mimed zipping his lips shut, sealing them tight like he was saying, "I'm done talking, y'all can guess the rest." The room erupted in shock. It was bold, weird, and totally meme-worthy. Exactly the kind of stunt that made people stop scrolling and watch twice. And just like that, the silence that had been haunting him turned into his loudest statement yet. And as the mime moment went viral, the Browns just kept losing. That's the wild twist in all of this. While the quarterback drama grabbed every headline, Cleveland's record sat at a disappointing 1-3. Dillon Gabriel was doing his best to steady the offense. Joe Flacco was hanging on at the tail end of a long career, and somehow their third-string rookie, who hadn't even thrown a pass, was at the center of one of the biggest NFL storylines of the season. For Shadour Sanders, the real battle now isn't about winning press conferences or throwing shade back at analysts. It's about earning that field time. As long as he stays a backup, every gesture, every post, every move he makes will get picked apart and twisted into proof of the entitlement label that's been following him since draft day. But maybe this whole storm could actually light the fire he needs.
If he says something, it's one thing. If he doesn't say something, it's another thing. So he took this approach.
Sports history is packed with players who were doubted, dragged, and written off early, only to come back stronger and silence everyone who ever questioned them. That's the path right in front of Shadour now. The story doesn't end here. It hangs on one big question. Can Shadour Sanders flip the script? Can he turn that silence into a statement, transform his critics into believers, and prove that the Sanders name isn't a curse, but a legacy built for greatness? Or will Rex Ryan's harsh words echo like a warning that a young quarterback with all the raw talent in the world lost focus chasing the noise? Whatever happens next, one thing's crystal clear: Shadour Sanders has already achieved what most rookies never do. He's become the conversation, the headline that just won't die. This isn't just about the Browns' quarterback room anymore. It's a full-blown clash between eras, the old-school grind versus the new-school spotlight. In today's NFL, you don't even have to take a single snap to dominate the headlines, and Shadour has proven that better than anyone. And if you've been hooked on this wild ride, don't miss what's coming next. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and check out another story waiting right here on your screen. Because trust me, the next chapter is about to get even crazier.